To all men going their own way out there, are you doing any kinds of prepping for when Shiite hits the fan? Preppers come in all different flavors. I recently watched the History Channel show called Doomsday Preppers. Some people on that show were hardcore to the point where their entire lives consisted of stockpiling food, creating underground bunkers, even building seagoing ships that were made of solid metal which could resist EMP attacks. You can get a little carried away with all this. What kind of a life are you trying to preserve if your life now is nothing more than prepping for the future? However, I noticed other people on the show who were more reasonable and realistic. What I learned from the latter group is that while we should take basic prep precautions, these should be broad and applicable to any situation. You can't predict exactly what form an SHTF scenario will take. Last year I started my own basic prep measures by getting together a bug-out bag. I don't like to call it a bug-out bag because it could equally be used to bug in if I had to. It all fits in a camouflage hunting backpack. For a full listing of what I have in that bag, check out the description box below. I don't claim to be an expert, but I do believe I have most of the basics covered. My philosophy for the bag is that it will allow me to survive 2 to 4 weeks through a crisis situation until I can get back home or at least to a more stable environment. This being the case, the priority is on defending myself, getting access to water, keeping warm, having shelter, basic first aid, enough food so that I won't starve for a short period of time, and finally, ways to communicate or to receive communication. I keep this bag in my car. The reason is because I figure it's the one spot where it will always be near me. When I'm at home, it's in the garage and easy to access. When I'm at work, it's right outside the building where my car is parked. And when I'm driving, obviously it's right next to me in the passenger seat. I have other resources in my house which aren't in the bug-out bag, which would prove handy in an emergency situation. These include a tarp for trapping rainwater, Clorox for purifying that rainwater, a rifle for hunting rabbits that I have all around the field behind my house, fishing tackle equipment because there's a lake within a mile of my house, a pistol for home defense, canned goods to last a few additional months, and much more. What do I believe is the most likely SHTF scenario? Even though I believe the Bible when it talks about the Armageddon and the Great Tribulation period, the more likely thing, at least the ones that would happen soonest, would include, firstly, an economic collapse, especially now that we're seeing the loss of jobs and the shutdown of businesses due to COVID-19. Last I heard, 30 million people lost jobs, and who knows how many businesses have closed. Just in my town, there are a bunch. When people don't have money, they can't eat, and then they get desperate. These are the times when you see just how cruel humans can get. The other situation, I believe, is most likely is an EMP, or electromagnetic pulse. This could result from either a tactical war-related strike on our country with an EMP weapon, or from a solar flare, like what happened in 1859, called the Carrington event. If such an event happened today, all your electronics would be fried, and they would cease to function. You wouldn't have heat or AC in your house, no smartphone or internet, no refrigerator to keep your food preserved. Your car wouldn't even start, and you wouldn't be able to get to the store, which wouldn't even have electricity if you could either. This is why everybody should have an emergency bug-out bag, plus basic supplies in their house, especially if you are a man going your own way. You already know that society is not looking out for you. It doesn't take a lot of money to start it. I think all of my supplies for the bag couldn't have cost more than $300. The biggest expense, of course, would be a firearm. You'd be surprised how inexpensive the other stuff is, though. Like water filter straws you can get for $10 each. A Dagger costs maybe $20. Mylar heat blankets are $3 a piece. A flashlight radio with hand crank power and solar power is less than $40. These are just some examples. You should get started if you haven't already, because luck favors the prepared. That's all I have for today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this in the future.